Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a registered broker-dealer, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisor representative, Cambridge Investment Research Advisors Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Financial planning services through Andover Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and Andover Advisory Group are not affiliated. Cambridge does not offer tax or legal advice.
Good morning, Justin. I want to thank you for your hard work. The information is a big help, and I appreciate what you did.
Enjoy the show.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, that's great to know. Thank you for the information.
You're very welcome.
Okay, Jeff.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
You're right on the money there, Jeff. How are you doing this morning?
Thank you.
Well, those are good questions. Hopefully that helps.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You're going to hear stuff here that you don't hear anywhere else on radio.
And you don't forget it.
Welcome to another edition of Talk Money. Thank you for joining us today. If this is your first visit, let me introduce myself. My name is Jeffrey Shank. I'm a chartered financial consultant, and I'm the owner of Andover Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. And for more than 25 years, I have provided effective financial advice for individuals and businesses. Our mission here on Talk Money, it's pretty simple, is to improve your money IQ. And how we do that is by offering you some information about personal financial planning, give you some tips, keep you up to date on what's going on with regard to changes in the tax code, changes in college financial aid, and just generally addressing the important issues, things that you need to know in order to help reach your financial goals. And good morning, Lou. How are you?
I'm very good. How are we doing today?
Excellent. We're only just about 12 days away from Christmas. And it has become somewhat of a tradition here on Talk Money.
I didn't realize that this morning, that we were exactly 12 days out.
Yes.
Didn't hit for me. So it makes perfect sense now.
Well, I think that I could be wrong. That the 12 days of Christmas start on Christmas Day, don't they? Or am I wrong?
I don't know. Yeah, it's entirely possible. That would make sense.
Yeah. So I think it's just a coincidence. We're 12 days out, and today's show we're gonna have a little bit of fun, and we're gonna take another look at inflation, a little different index, not the government's CPI calculation of inflation, but the PNC Bank 12 Days of Christmas Price Index. And they've been doing this since '82. Originally, it was designed for their clients. And so they would send out a letter every year.
Yep.
And they would price out all of the gifts in the song, the 12 Days of Christmas.
Yes, one of the most wonderfully useless activities of the year that I look forward to every year.
Well,
because it raises more questions than answers.
It does answers. That's quite possible.
Yeah.
Yes. And so they decided that they were going to use it more of a marketing campaign to kind of introduce people to PNC Bank, which apparently is in Pennsylvania.
That would make sense. Yeah.
I don't think there's any local branches, but maybe someday there might be.
PNC? Oh, I don't know. Oh, okay.
Is that right? Yeah. I've never seen any.
They're too familiar to me not to be local branches, but that's entirely possible. What do I know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's get right into it, Lou.
Well, wait a second though. Let's set it up because we did the Thanksgiving dinner index, and that was up what 14.6%, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right.
14 something percent.
Yes.
So we'll have to see if this index of the 12 Days of Christmas beats the Thanksgiving dinner index or not.
Of course, the Thanksgiving dinner index is a subset of the overall inflation rate because it focuses on food.
Right.
right? And then
this is more comprehensive.
this is much more comprehensive.
In ways that again raise more questions than answers.
And so if you recall, right,
Mm-hmm.
Last year, because of the pandemic, they couldn't price out various gifts in the index because live performances were shut down.
Yeah.
So Lords of Leaping, for example.
Yeah. That's why.
They couldn't price that. They couldn't price that out.
Yeah.
So there were several components of the index that they couldn't include, and that really threw off the index, and it was down something like 50% from 2019 to 2020. Sort of an anomaly. I guess we kind of throw that one out. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, good example. 12. How many Lords Leaping? 6.
I don't know.
7.
Well, we're gonna find out though.
8 Lords Leaping. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
I think there's 8 maids of milking. I think.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go
Well,
through.
I mean, we'll get into it, right?
Yep.
But so this year performances are back. So the Lords of Leaping, they were able to price out properly. Piper's piping, the drummer's drumming, right? That's all going to be in there. And there's broad categories too, just like there is in the CPI. There's these categories that they look at individually, and so performances were up 7. So what they're going to do, just so you know, they're going to compare this year. They're comparing 21 to 19, not 20,
right?
Because again, we're throwing that one out.
Sure.
Okay. So in aggregate, the performers subcategory of the index is up about 7.2%.
Right. So this will be wider than the Thanksgiving Day index because, as you said, that's just food. This is good. Labor is going to be included in this.
Right. Exactly.
Metals, there's all kinds of stuff.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. The other thing of note is that the fowl portion of the index,
Mm-hmm.
all the birds, really.
Yeah.
That was a huge spike for some reason. Not sure why. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Huge.
Maybe because I don't know if you've heard, but birds aren't real. I don't know if you've caught that story lately.
Birds aren't real?
Yeah, birds aren't real.
No, I didn't. I missed that one. I must have missed that one.
There's a Gen Z conspiracy that's come out recently that birds aren't real. They're
all the mechanical, you mean?
Yeah, and they recharge.
They're not living. They're robots.
Yeah, they're recharging on the phone wires and
and they're spying on us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, I understand. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The catchphrase being, "Come on, wake up! You've never seen a baby pigeon, have you?" And it's true. I've never seen a baby pigeon.
All right, we won't go there today.
It's the Wizard of Oz. What a world! What a world!
All right, so
Yep.
I put up I this year kind of nice because now we can actually we have some graphics to support each gift in the 12 days of Christmas. And don't forget that the person that wrote this was doing this out of love.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's important.
Was that in question for some reason?
So let's start with number 1, Partridge in a Pear Tree.
All right.
Partridge in a Pear Tree up 6% from 2020 to from 2019 to 2021.
All right, I got to ask. That includes the pear tree too, right?
That includes the pear. That includes the pear tree,
yep.
And it can't be an infant tree, right? Because the partridge wouldn't be able to sit on a limb.
They're good sized birds.
It's got to be a decent size pear tree, right? Yep. So that makes sense. $223.
I would prefer to see a partridge family partridge there, but still, take it.
All right.
Yeah.
And so 2 turtle doves.
Wow.
Up 50%.
There had to be an explanation for that.
I don't have an explanation for it.
No?
No, sorry.
So again,
but a total of $450.
I'll just get into it right away here. Is this, are they looking on Amazon? How are they purchasing the turtle doves?
Lou,
How are
I'm
they
glad
coming-
you asked that question.
Yeah, how are they coming up?
Because PNC Bank and the people there, they recognize that people are shopping differently these days.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
so they actually have two prices. One for the traditional method of getting 2 turtle doves.
Driving out to the turtle dove farm and picking them out.
That's typically the way it's done,
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
And purchasing them through Amazon or the internet, they call it, but we all know that's Amazon.
Okay. I have to know at this point.
Yeah. So we'll actually be able to get into. We've got a comparison between the internet cost and the online shopping cost and the traditional method of shopping for these gifts.
Now, would they, if you're a Prime member, the turtle dove shipping would be free, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah. So
Yes.
shipping's not part of this.
Yeah, one day.
Oh,
shipping,
well, of course.
right?
Yep.
Order those turtle doves
Is there
at 7
live?
a.m. and have it by 5.
I'm looking on Amazon and I'm trying to, is livestock on Amazon? Can you buy live animals on Amazon? I'm not seeing them here.
I haven't tried just
Okay.
yet,
All right.
but you need to let me know if we can order a turtle dove. And your 3 French hens, low,
Yeah. Well,
up
makes sense.
40.5%.
Yep.
These are not ordinary hens. These are French hens.
$70 a whack.
Yeah. Oh, you got to include shipping. Oh, but
Yep.
the internet. Well, yeah, the traditional method, right, where you call the farm or you drive out there. You got to count. You have to figure in your transportation costs to pick them up.
True.
Right.
Well, see, that's part of the 40% increase right there because gas alone.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Although gas is coming down.
And then your calling birds. Believe it or not, this is a bargain. Didn't go up year over year, but geez, that's $150 for one calling bird.
Yeah.
These are special birds.
I would. Yeah. Yeah. Now, it's not a breed of bird, so I wonder what breed they chose for calling bird.
For calling birds.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Again, I have so many questions.
Somehow it looks like a cardinal, but not.
It does look like a cardinal.
Yeah.
Those are expensive
Would
birds.
that come under would a cardinal come under the category of a calling bird?
I don't know. I don't know what the definition of a calling bird is.
And again, remember, Lou, love is blind, and price is no object. So you want to get your true love, the perfect gift, right?
Yeah, which raises yet another question. What do you do with all these things after Christmas? What do you do with 4 calling birds and 3 French hens and 2 turtle
Well, that's
doves?
the problem for your true love, not you.
Yeah.
Unless
As you know,
unless it's rejected.
as you know, their problems become your problems. No
And
separation there.
5 gold rings, Lo.
Oh God, yeah.
Yep. Now, this is this is something that nothing special about it. Gold is pretty easy to handle and ship, and
Yep.
so mostly this is the increase in the price of the metal itself.
But they're cheaper than all the birds. The gold rings are cheaper. The birds are more expensive than gold. Basically.
What do you mean?
Well, the last
More expensive than a gold ring?
those calling birds, right?
Should I go back?
Yeah.
You're talking about $150 a piece. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. All right. Oh yes.
Versus
Okay. Oh,
$900
Yeah.
for 5. It's pretty close.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, I did my math there.
Again, this is pretty much the increase in the price of the metal itself.
I was trying to figure out how to convert the shed to be a bird sanctuary.
Sanctuary, or you mean as all these
Place
people
to keep
just
the birds.
realize that they got no place to keep the calling birds, the turtle doves, the
If I brought
partridge.
them home, I would have to make a place for them afterwards.
Oh, I see.
I have to house them somehow.
So you're
Although
expecting,
we've got coyotes, so that might solve the problem.
there you go.
Yeah.
Oops, went way too fast.
Yeah.
Wait a second. So 6 geese a laying.
Yep.
Big time increase, Lou. 57%.
What's going on with
I don't know.
aviary here and fowl?
I don't know.
Prices off through the roof.
Yeah. Transportation costs might be part of it, but
French hens might be.
maybe scarcity, supply chain.
The French
that's
hens
it.
might be offshore
Whoa.
on a boat somewhere.
Lou, supply chain.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But there's no problem with geese. I don't know if you've looked outside, but there's no problem with geese.
These are special geese. These are not your. These are not your.
Not
you-
Canadian geese.
Yeah, that's not your Canadian geese. These are special geese.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and these geese obviously are laying.
Yes, of course.
Otherwise,
Yep.
probably be a lot cheaper.
I think the
If
Canadian.
they weren't
geese
if
are
they
laying
weren't
first.
fertile, it would be a lot cheaper.
If you've seen the number of Canadian geese, they're laying too. So no problem.
Have you seen a baby goose?
I have actually.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Where do they keep their nests?
I don't know.
That's your problem. See, the pigeons, we don't know where their nests are, where they nest. That's the reason why you don't see the little.
Okay, if birds
Baby
aren't
bird.
real, what are we eating on Thanksgiving?
I don't know. Did you actually dress the bird?
No,
No.
no.
Right. So who knows what's in that package?
All right.
Right.
Yep. Oh.
Swans.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
This has always been a major expense. Maybe a black swan might be. Actually, black swan would probably be more. That'd probably be double,
Oh God, yeah.
right?
I would
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
So this would be a normal white swan.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 7 of them, but keep in mind, as we go up, right? Or is this the price per? No, I think this is 7
God.
swans are swimming.
No, for 7.
Oh no, this is the price. Right. This is for 7 swans. Yes. That always confuses me.
Still,
Always confuses me.
stick with it. It's approaching $2,000 a swan.
Yeah. This is not a cheap item. But
No.
again, if you really love the person that you're
Yeah.
making these gifts,
Yep.
money's no object, right?
Yeah. This
Yeah.
would go over big. Yeah.
8 maids of milking. Here's your
Okay. See,
$58.
this is a problem.
So low, listen, I'm guessing that all you're getting here is the milk and the time for the maids to do the milking. Nothing else. I just want to clarify.
Still, there's 8 of them. How much time?
How
would
long does it take to milk a cow?
it's
I mean, even today, what are we talking about?
you could not. You could
Half
not
an hour
8 women
max.
to milk cows for $58. I can't even do the math. 58 divided by 8. But who's going to take a drive out to milk your cows for that?
58 divided by 8. So we're talking about $7. $7
Okay, yeah.
per maid.
Yep.
Half an hour. That's $14 an hour. There's not a lot of skills. I mean, you do have to be trained, obviously.
Are you going to get in a car and drive out to milk a cow for $7? It's going to. Yeah.
Well,
What-
no, they're doing a lot of milking for a lot of people. You're purchasing just that. It's not like you have them all day. It's not
Okay.
like they come into your house necessarily. Again, my guess is, and I don't know for sure, we have to call the people at PNC Bank just to get
But this
their
is
take
not
on it. But
a milk thing. This is a labor thing. And $58, you can't get anybody to do anything for $58.
again, so if I mean, there's a lot of people working at Disneyland and Disney World, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so they're getting paid a lot of money, and you're going there just for a short period of time. You're only employing them for just a few minutes, right?
I see.
So your ticket price is based on those short-term labor costs, I would imagine.
Okay.
Just as an example, the only one I can think of.
Okay, we'll go with that. I've got.
So you just buy you. I mean, so there's a lot of people that are employing these 8 maids to do the milking, and so no, they're not going to come out just for you, but they'll come out for everybody who's looking to buy their true love.
So are we just
a
getting it
gift.
for the almost $2,000 for the swans? Are we just getting the swans for a period of time, or are we getting them
No,
permanent?
I think you own them. I
purchasing.
think you own the swans. You can't own somebody, right? Yeah. So
True.
you're just employing them for a short period of time. This
Yeah.
all makes sense.
Okay, sure, we'll go with it.
9 ladies dancing now.
See?
Listen,
Just blew up your whole argument right there.
no. Compare the skill set to milk a cow or some other animal. They don't say cow. I mean, I think the picture was of a cow, but it could be something
Yeah,
else.
sure.
Compared to actually dancing. I mean, a lot of training, a lot of years go into it.
But they're coming out to do like a number, like one dance or something.
Well, we don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
But still, you're talking about 9,
Yeah, I
right?
guess.
That's less than $1,000 each.
Well, the maids of milking was less than $7 each, or less than $8 each.
We're talking about a
Skilled labor.
skilled labor, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could go. I could keep going on this, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass.
Let's move on to number 10.
Yeah.
Again, it's actually the price is about the same as 9. Although, I mean, I don't want to say it, but it looks like Lords of Leaping are getting paid more than ladies dancing. So there might be.
I'm sure there's a gender income gap there.
But that was up about 13%. I forgot to mention. Hang on one second. Oh, 0%. So there's no change.
Yep.
No change year over year for ladies dancing. Oh, listen to that. Look at that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there seems to be a gender bias here, Lou, in terms of overall value.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I never, in my mind, for the Lords of Leaping, never had the skating part of it in there.
Yeah.
That's new to me. It's not what I
Yeah.
pictured in my mind.
Yeah. I think that's just a graphic they came up with.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that it's actually skating. I see them more on stage in tights
So yeah,
and ballet shoes, right?
why are the men getting paid more and getting more money
Basically-
than they got last year, and the women are not getting more money than they got last year?
I don't. Again, seems to be a bias.
This is an enlightened administration. The women should be making as much as the men.
Well, they haven't passed the ERA just yet, so that could change
Yeah. Okay.
in future iterations.
So how many pieces of this index, these 12 days of Christmas, are part of the infrastructure bill?
So far, I don't think any.
Okay.
Am I right?
Well, we're going to have to put reparations in for the ladies dancing and
That he's dancing.
maids of milk.
I don't think that's part of the infrastructure bill, but
Oh,
gold rings. Now, gold rings wouldn't be covered by that, right? So I
No.
think that's yeah. We might be getting there. Hold on a second. There's 2 more to go.
okay.
All right. Piper's piping. Look at that. Well, Piper's piping could be male or female, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to. Yeah.
Sure. Not gender
It's
specific.
not, yeah, right. Exactly. That's up 7.1%. Piper's piping. Again, this is all the performing arts. So they're trying to make up for lost income from 2020 because they were shut down.
True.
So that would make sense.
But that's only a little bit over what inflation has been. So as
year
opposed
over year.
to the
Yeah.
loans
So
that
it's
may be.
interesting because, when I first read this, they said we're going to compare 2021 with 2019. We're going to throw out 2020 because that would just be crazy. It was down 50% or so, and obviously it would be up 60 or 70%, which doesn't make any sense. So I think that's a fair um, a fair methodology
Yeah, the
in
inflation
this
rate
particular
since
case.
2019 may be
But
7.1%.
the thing is, that's 2 years of inflation. So I think that to annualize this, I think you really have to divide it by two, at the very least, maybe even a little bit more to figure in, um, um, yeah, compounding.
Okay.
So to figure in compounding, you would have to reduce it even less than dividing by two. But we do a rough calculation, just divided by two. So I think this is really 3.5% annualized because we're looking at a 2-year time span.
Which is a modest increase. Obviously, they're taking less for this year, but probably from 2018 and 2020, that's a little bit more than the inflation rate. Probably.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then, of course, the 12 drummers drumming
7.1%. There you go.
up 7.1%, similar to the Piper's Piping. So it looks like the musical performances are pretty consistent.
Yep. All right. So if I'm just putting this all together just from memory here, I'm not quite sure we made the 14% of the Thanksgiving Day index.
No, again, you have to think of it. You have to take into consideration that the Thanksgiving index was specifically food,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I don't think there was anything in the Thanksgiving index that wasn't
Right.
food related, right?
Yep.
So the last, just to put this all together, we're looking at a percentage change for the entire price index of about 5.7%. 2021 compared to 2019, right?
Wow.
And again, I think you need to divide that by two if you want to annualize this,
Okay.
right? You can't go 2 years and say, oh, it went up 5.7%, and that's the change. This is a 2-year time span, so I think we really have to divide it by two. But there's the Christmas price index, which adds up the items 1 through 12 in the quantities that they are given, and that's the 41,205. But then don't forget, you repeat 1 through 11, right? Yeah. And so when you repeat 1 through 11 and then add on 12, your total cost is $179.5.
Okay, I'm sick of the song by the time it ends. Can you imagine getting this 12 days, everything repeated? I don't even want to hear about it that often during a song, let alone getting these presents every day for 12 days.
Yeah, and Lou, remember we said that there is the alternate form of shopping for these items.
Yeah.
And that's the internet. And believe it or not, it costs more.
I don't understand.
It costs more. Well, you think about it. If you're not going to pick up the birds personally, then you have to ship it. There must be some sort of special packaging involved to keep the birds from dying in transport.
But this implies that shopping on the internet is more expensive than otherwise.
Shopping? No, Lou. It means shopping for the items in the 12 days of Christmas. The song, The 12 Days of Christmas, is more expensive. That doesn't mean overall it's more expensive, just for these items. So if you're going to do this, you're smarter to just go out and do it shop traditionally.
For 7 Lords of Leaping?
How do you do that on the internet?
How do you not do that on the internet? You're going to call somebody. You're going to look online. You're not going to. What are you going to drive to the Lords of Leaping shop? What are you going to do?
I guess if you go to one of the centers for
performing
arts. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I would do anyway.
Yes.
That's how I would approach it.
Yeah.
And substantially more if you add it all up over the several iterations of the song.
Just Lords Are Leaping Near Me on Google.
Did you find it?
No, I haven't, but
Okay.
you got me curious now.
And of course, just like CPI, where they have the headline number and then they take out the more volatile food and energy component, right, to come up with what they call the core index. And so the swans, as we noticed, was one of the major contributors. So you take out the swans, and you actually have a number that's probably closer to inflation, the CPI, year over year.
Yep.
Which makes sense. Yeah. So 8.6. But again, I think I say, and I could be wrong here, but I say you divide that by 2, and so you're talking about 4.5%. And the internet cost actually went up more so than the traditional way of shopping for these things. If there is a traditional way of shopping for
so there was
these
no
items.
there was no inflation on the swans. All the inflation.
Should we go back, Lou? Do you want to go back? Yeah. Okay, so this is just so if you sing this song, we do this like 11 times, but so we
went past this.
Right, sorry. Yeah, no, year over year, no increase. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the bottom line. I see you figured that out when you took it out. The inflation rate actually went up. That's interesting. That is interesting.
Went up significantly.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
So that was a big expenditure. That $13,000. It was a big percentage of it, and there was no.
And there was no change. Lou, I am impressed. You figured out that's what happened.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what I always say: there is no bad data. There's only bad analysis.
So, what does this tell us? Not much, really. But it was fun going through it and kind of.
It's always fun because, as I said, it just generates more questions than it does answers. But
Dan, I want to thank PNC Bank for putting this together every year.
Who gets to be on that team? Or is that a person, or how does that work?
No, it's a team. It's actually a team.
Yeah,
we looked into this one year because you asked all these questions, so we looked into it.
So they have
it's
one
actually
person,
a team. Yep, it's actually a team, and that's
one
their job.
person for each day.
And I don't know. I don't know about that.
And then what do they do the rest of their afternoon?
Yeah, I'm guessing that they're pretty serious about it, so I wouldn't make fun of them.
I'm not making fun of them at all.
You don't want,
It's a tough job.
It's a tough job.
It's a tough job.
I'm sure they take it seriously, at least for some period of time anyway.
As they should.
Putting this together. Well, they want to be accurate, of course.
All right, so the rate of inflation on food is higher than labor at this point.
It does appear that way.
It would seem.
Yes. Yeah. Judging by these two.
And there still is a
unscientific. I'm sorry.
There's still a gender income gap and a gender inflation.
There apparently is. We have determined that, I think, for sure. Yes, which must be addressed.
Because the maids and the ladies made a lot less money than the lords.
In at least in one case, no increase in their labor cost at all.
Right.
That's a problem.
You had women coming out to milk cows for $7 each.
Again.
So tough to swallow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So stay in school and learn how to dance and leap is basically.
That is the takeaway.
Basically.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, that was fun. We've gone way too long on this. We got a couple other things to talk about today.
I disagree wholeheartedly. There's much more to explore here.
So we're gonna take a short break. When we come back, I want to talk about this. 'Tis the season for giving. I want to talk a little bit about giving to charity. We'll be right back.
Whether you're saving money for your children's education, preparing for retirement, or deciding on the right life insurance plan, you can count on the professionals at Andover Advisory Group. Established in 1996, our company is responsible for providing financial planning services to individuals seeking sound financial advice. We create a comprehensive financial plan that serves as a framework for organizing the pieces of your financial life so that you can focus on your goals and understand what it takes to reach them. And a financial plan can help you prioritize. For example, how saving for college might impact your ability to save for your retirement. Having a clear perspective will allow you to pick the right strategies and confidently choose suitable products and services. Best of all, you'll have the peace of mind that comes from knowing that your financial life is on track. Call us at 978-691-5005 to book your free initial consultation. That's 978-691-5005. Hi, this is Jeffrey Shank, a chartered financial consultant and the host of the Talk Money Show. I've been helping my clients for more than 30 years, and now I'm going to help you. Join us to learn about the financial issues that concern you the most. You'll hear from the experts on a range of topics, get some great ideas, and it's all designed to help you make more out of your money. So tune in to Talk Money right here on Eagle News Radio.
Welcome back. Hey, so I came across this graphic, Lou, on
just for clarity,
yes,
a calling bird.
a calling bird. Yes, is
Calling bird is actually a songbird, but the original song way back refers to 4 collie birds, C-O-L-L-Y birds,
oh,
which means black as coal or soot. So the gift was actually 4 blackbirds.
oh,
Yeah,
oh. Well, that's interesting.
those are expensive blackbirds.
And you and you think this is a credible source of information?
It is the guildofletting.com. And it's backed up by several sources.
Okay, all right. Well, very good.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah,
Collie birds, and that's so. Did it get just? Did it morph into calling birds? Is that what
apparently.
happened? Or
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. So anyway, I came across this graphic, Lou, on charitable giving, and it compared 2020 to 2019
Mhm.
from giving from various sources, right? Individuals, foundations, bequests. Bequests would be people put that in their will.
Yep.
And corporations. And I was actually quite surprised that in 2020, during the pandemic, corporations actually gave less than they had in the prior year by 6%. 6% decline. Now, I'm guessing that wasn't, the major corporations. Probably had something to do with smaller businesses and their inability to stay in business, or at least they were potentially shut down, and that affected their ability to give.
Yes, but don't you think corporations are working on a different financial equation? In other words, they have responsibility to shareholders, where charity may take a back seat there. In that situation, where in your personal finances and making personal decisions, your financial equation is a little bit different. Probably.
I find it to be quite the opposite, Lou, especially when we're talking about major corporations, that they have a part of their management and their marketing efforts have a lot to do with giving to charity, and so they make it a priority. They actually set up foundations in some cases in order to make sure that they're giving a certain amount each and every year. So I'm guessing that decline had everything to do with smaller businesses.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. I could be totally wrong. The bequests were up 10.3%. That might actually have something to do with the fatality rate.
Interesting.
What's your mortality rate?
Yeah,
Not fatality rate, but mortality rate. Right, because that's coming from people's wills. They're giving after they've passed away, and so that could have had everything to do with more people dying. Foundations
it's a big increase, though.
Yeah, foundations were the highest increase, 17%, and that makes sense given the pandemic, because foundations are set up specifically to give to charity, and so they might have found themselves having to step up in order to help people in need. Individuals were still up 2.2% despite the pandemic.
Yep.
Which I think is a good thing. Did you know that the United States is by far one of the most charitable population
I
in the
did
world?
not know that, but it doesn't
Yep.
surprise me.
Yep. No matter, I mean, we complain about taxes and we complain about central government spending money, and still, we give more than per capita than any other country in the world. And so I had some thoughts, had some tips basically on charitable giving. And so let's start with those people who are required to take money out of their retirement accounts. So you were either you reached age 70 and a half in 2018 or earlier, or starting in 2019 it went to 72. So you reach age 72, and the government wants you to take your money out. Why? So that they can tax it, right?
Yep.
And so there is a rule that allows you to make distributions directly from your retirement account to a has to be a qualified charity, Lou,
Sure.
to a qualified charity, and every dollar that you send is not taxed to you, and also meets the minimum distribution requirement. So if you have to take out $10,000, for example,
Right.
because you reached that magic age, and you set it up so that $10,000 goes directly to a charity from your retirement account, you met your minimum distribution requirement, and you don't have to pay taxes on it. Now, by the way, this works for someone who has who normally gives $1,000. They have to take out $10,000. So instead of taking out 10, they take 9, and they send $1,000 to the charity. Now, why is that important? Is because of the changes in the tax laws. They got rid of the personal exemption. They replaced it with a increase in the standard deduction, and a lot of people now don't itemize. And so the only way to get a deduction for charitable contributions is to itemize. So here's a way to make essentially a tax deductible contribution to a charity without having to worry about itemizing on your tax return.
Oh, it's an interesting approach, isn't it?
Yeah, they call it qualified charitable distribution, QCD.
But it has to be, I would imagine it has to be a direct payment.
Has to be a direct payment, and
Yep.
and it has to be right out of your account. So you call you contact your custodian, and you tell them the name of the charity, how much you want to give, and they will send that money directly to the charity. And again, it counts towards your minimum distribution requirement. Here's another idea. Let's say that you've done pretty well in the stock market. Let's say you have a charitable urge. You usually give $1,000 or more. Instead of paying it in cash, you give appreciated property, like stock, for example. Now, how does that benefit you? Well, when you sell the stock, let's say that you sold the stock to turn it into cash to send it to the charity. Guess what? You have to pay capital gains taxes on that.
Right.
Instead of doing that, what you do is you give that stock to the charity. They sell the stock, and guess what? It's qualified charity. No taxes. No taxes to them, no taxes to you, because you didn't liquidate it before you gave it to the charity. So you get if you do itemize, you get the full benefit of the value of the stock that you transferred to the charity. You get to write off the entire value, and you don't pay capital gains taxes on it.
Interesting.
That works, by the way, in a case where you're doing some estate planning, you've accumulated a lot of wealth, and you're trying to minimize the estate tax, the eventual estate tax, and maybe income taxes. You can actually set up a private foundation and contribute appreciated stock and avoid paying capital gains taxes
Interesting.
on that appreciated stock.
Can you do
So
this
that-
on a partial basis, or does it have to be complete? Like, for example, do you have to?
Doesn't
turn
matter.
it? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have 1,000 shares of something, you can give 100 shares. If that was your question.
But if you cash out 1,000 shares, can you give 200 shares and get that benefit, and then pay the capital gains tax and take the benefit on the other 800 shares?
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So there's not. So you don't have to give 100% of the property that you own to take advantage of the charitable giving. Yeah. Here's another idea. So we talked about this before, and I think it's worth repeating, especially this time of year. So they got rid of the exemption. They doubled the standard deduction. You're no longer able to itemize, but over several years, you could make several contributions, charitable contributions that could add up to a lot of money. Well, here's one way that you could get a tax deduction, have enough of a contribution to charity to itemize without necessarily giving that money to the charity immediately. And it's what they call a donor advised fund.
Mhm.
It's set up specifically to make charitable contributions. You get 100%, depending on your income tax situation, your income. There are income thresholds that reduce the amount of the deduction potentially. Most people don't have to worry about it. But you make, let's say you took $10,000 and you contributed it to a donor advised fund. You get to write off the $10,000 on your income tax this year. And what happens with the donor advised fund? The money is invested, and then you decide how much of that money you contributed goes to the charity, and you get to decide from year to year which charity receives those funds. So you get the initial write-off.
Yep.
You don't actually make the contribution, and you decide later on who's going to get it and how much.
So it works from a tax friendly basis, but allows you still options on where that money is going
Gives
to
you
go.
control on where it's going to go. Right. So you could take 10 years of future charitable contributions, give it all 1 year, get the write-off, and still make those contributions over a 10-year period. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And by the way, the current administration is looking at putting restrictions on donor advised funds.
I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are just some of the ways that you can. I mean, what could be better than making a charitable contribution, doing good with the money that you've accumulated, helping out your fellow citizen, and you get a tax benefit at the same time. Lou, that's win-win.
But it takes planning, and again, this is, as we often say on the show, this is not something you do at your kitchen table. It takes some planning to make sure that everybody gets the full benefit of what you're trying to accomplish here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, so QCDs, qualified charitable distributions, those are something that anybody who's reached that age where you're forced to take money out, it works for everybody. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a huge contribution. It could be a $500 contribution to your favorite charity, and it's going to save you. It's going to save you some money in income taxes. I mean, if you're in a 20% tax bracket, 5% state, 25%, you give $500. That's $125 tax savings.
Yep.
So it only costs you $375 to give $500. That's the bottom line.
Nice.
Yeah. Hey, so I usually would take a break before talking about today's or this week's anyway Talk Money tip, but we'll skip that, and because it is connected with charitable giving, and this has to do with the rule for taking a charitable deduction or taking a charitable contribution as a tax deduction. So what they did for a couple of years, and this I think is the last year, you don't have to itemize to take a charitable deduction
Mhm.
or contribution to a charitable contribution deduction. So you can take up to $600 without itemizing. So everybody could take advantage of this. And I was thinking about this, Lou, how would you like to be able to deduct your holiday party on your
Sure.
income tax return?
Very much so. Yes.
So instead of just having your holiday party and inviting your guests, you ask them to bring a toy,
Oh.
Toys for Tots, or you ask them to make bring a check to make a contribution,
Great idea. It's a fundraiser.
and you turn your holiday party into a fundraiser.
Yeah.
And as long as it's a qualified charity, you can deduct your expense for running the fundraiser as a charitable contribution. Always check, by the way, always check with your tax advisor before making any decisions like this. But that if you do it the right way, it is possible to turn your holiday party into a fundraiser and write it off, and up to $600, even if you don't itemize.
Wow. It's a nice tip. So you have your 8-year-old and your 6-year-old bring a check.
If you get audited, you better make sure that you've done this the right way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Hey,
like
Toys for
Good
Toys
tip.
for Tots, that works, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Hey.
funny, and I wonder how would that work?
What?
Because I'm just thinking now of all the quote unquote fundraisers that happen on, say, Facebook now around birthdays and things like that. If you set up a birthday party and
Yes.
you have on Facebook, I'm sure you've seen them on Facebook. For a birthday, make a charitable contribution.
Okay.
Would that qualify?
Facts and circumstances, Lou.
Yeah.
Facts and circumstances. That would depend on the facts and the circumstances that you created this fundraiser. But generally speaking, yes, if you have a fundraiser, you can deduct the expenses associated with the fundraiser. So I'm not sure what you're talking about on Facebook and birthday party. What is the what's the unique?
Most people have their birthday on Facebook. They have their date on there, and when that comes, they send out a notice to all your friends it's your birthday.
Yeah.
And oftentimes there'll be a note accompanying with that is your friend is asking
Sure.
for contributions for this charity.
Yeah.
For their birthday. So they run a little fundraiser for their birthday.
Okay, but so did you have any expenses associated with that fundraiser?
Well, I mean, you had a birthday.
But what were the expenses?
Yeah.
So you're writing off the expenses. That's the key. So
Yeah.
I want to make this perfectly clear. You don't get credit for somebody else's contribution. The person who's making the contribution to charity,
Yeah.
they get the deduction. You don't. What
It's
we're talking
not the
about here is
expenses, though.
creating an event, a fundraising event, and then you're able to, because it's a qualified charity, and then the intent of the event was to raise money for the charity. You can write
Right.
up the expenses associated with that as a charitable contribution.
I see.
You see,
It's been
so
would
just
you
putting
incur-
up putting up a fundraiser on Facebook doesn't necessarily give you a tax deduction or a tax benefit. Only to the extent that there be expenses associated with running that event.
Right.
Right.
I get it. Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm glad we clarified that. Don't want to give people a wrong idea.
No, I understand. Yeah.
Hey, so okay, it looks like we're out of time. That was great. Had a little bit of fun. We did talk about making charitable contributions an important thing that people do, and I just wanted to.
You'd
Go
have
ahead.
to think about now, right? As we approach the end of the year, getting ready for your tax year, if you need that contribution and that deduction on this year's taxes.
Yeah, and by the way, you don't have to go to the expense and effort of creating a holiday party to take that $600 deduction. If you haven't made any contributions yet this year, you will be able to write off up to $600 this year. I think this is the last year you can do that without actually having to itemize.
All right. Excellent.
All right. Hey, if you want to get in touch with me after the show, use the toll-free number 877-475-2062. Send me an email, jeff@talkmoneyradio.com. Send us a message right on Facebook. If you have some questions, or if you'd like to set up that no obligation initial, no cost initial consultation, we'd be glad to hear from you. And have a great holiday season. We'll be back not next week, Lou, but the week after. So I won't see you before Christmas. So I'll say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Have a great Christmas, and we'll see
All
you.
right.
We'll see you after Christmas.
Okay, very good. Thanks.
Off my stack.